advocated supervisors and managers ranking employees into three groups. As per this process or as per this system, the top performers comprise roughly 20% of the workforce. Average performers, 70% of the or average, and the lowest performing employees make up about 10% of the workforce. So what is happening? They are giving some rankings where it measures the employees' achievements with that of the other peer people who are working at the same designation or with same pay. So what is happening? Instead of comparing the employee's current evaluation period against the employee own past performance, what they are doing, they are comparing simultaneously. Means they should compare always with their past performance, not with the other person. Maybe the last month or the last year their performance this much, is it increased or decreased? That has to be checked rather than comparing it with the same peer group. And when you talk about the advantages, here in advantages, it can increase the productivity of individuals and teams, and it can identify under processing individuals and teams, and it can even improve communication, recognize top performers, or it can provide a clear chain of command. And disadvantages are it can lead to decreased level of output. It can make communication difficult, or it can lead to lack of commitment. It's still judged through subjectivity rather than what actually they are performing, and it requires some levels of motivation. And for performance measurement, we have some systems that are followed at the organization level. Under that, the first one is best practices in the organization that are identified and expanded. Processes are benchmarked against the performance of outside the organization, or resources are used efficiently and effectively, and strategic activities are aligned to the strategic plan. In the same scenario, even we can talk about the BSc, that is Balanced Scorecard, which gives the metrics for briefly understanding the performance measurement effectiveness, which depends upon identifying and integrating them with the business metrics. That is very, very important. So when we talk about the metrics, it's nothing but measurement taken over a period of time that is communicates vital information about a process or an activity is called metrics. Which tells, okay, this is what this metric, this means, which will give a meaning for the measurement, on what basis we are measuring, or on what basis we are giving the standards. So metrics are usually specialized by the subject area and sometimes referred to as KPI, that is key performance indicators. And this performance metric should be constructed to encourage performance improvement, effectiveness or efficiency, and appropriate levels of internal controls. And they should incorporate best practices related to performance being measured. And characteristics of good metrics are derives appropriate action, meaningful to the customer. Customer may be member or donor. It's be simple, understandable, logical, and repeatable. And also it should be clearly defined. And the data that economical to collect shows how organizational goals and objectives are being met. This is all they have dealt with already in the earlier class. Environmental impact on WSM and green audit. This we have discussed. Globalization and WCM. In this, we have 4 units, subtopics: ergonomics, business process reengineering and business process outsourcing, world-class manufacturing, Indian and international scenario and trends in world-class manufacturing. So globalization and WCM, that is world-class manufacturing, means how this globalization has affected the world-class manufacturing and what are the doors or the paths that has opened for the world-class manufacturing. So here ergonomics is applied to the design of anything that involves people, workspace, sports, and leisure, health and safety. And it creates a balance between work and effort what you're putting in that. And it plays a vital role in improving productivity. It's a fact that ergonomics itself does not produce anything, but if properly exploited as an indispensable tool or function in industry, it is capable of producing significant results. So there is more concentration, and the concentration on business process re-engineering means, which is also referred as business process change or management or business process redesign, which represents the analysis of design of the workflow and methods within an enterprise and external entities as well. And whereas BPO, that is business process outsourcing, is a business practice where one organization hires the another company to perform tasks. Means nowadays we can see or we can witness this. There are n number of MNCs which take some small companies, and that small companies work for that big MNCs, and they say it is their client company or their mother company. These are the words that they real normally nowadays that are used in the present industry. So here, our it's called as outsourcing. We can call they will hire the other companies who will work for them, and there is a link between business process engineering and business process outsourcing. And here there is a link. BPR, that is business process outsourcing, is acknowledged, or re-engineering is acknowledged as a method to review and improve processes. And it's considered as by many to be a solution for a process that can be implemented more effectively by an expert BPO service provider. And Industry 4.0, that is fourth industrial revolution, which is revolutionizing manufacturing by providing manufacturers with the opportunity to utilize advanced manufacturing capabilities and information technology throughout the product life cycle. And as a result, manufacturers are benefiting from increased visibility into operations, substantial cost savings, faster production times, and it also ability to provide excellent customer support. The WCM model itself is dynamic, constantly evolving, self-renewing model, and the only way manufacturers can stay ahead of competitors and win market share in today's quickly morphing environment is to embrace the change or to apply the change and go ahead by using that change as their opportunity. Those who wish to thrive and is surviving for leveraging the latest growth industry is enhancing. That's 4.4. Now we are even calling 5.0. So here we talk about the four things. What is the trends that are going to be faced in WCM in the future? And world-class manufacturing, what is the scenario in Indian scenario as well as international scenario? So we discuss now, first we discuss about the ergonomics. And here, whenever we talk ergonomics, it's like something to do with sitting or seating or with the design of car control and instruments. But it is so much more than that. Why? Because it applies, ergonomics applies to the design of anything that in which people involves, maybe workspaces, sports, leisure, health, and safety. So ergonomics is the science of designing or arranging workplaces, products, and systems so that they're fitting into that, may fit the people who can use them or who use that, they can use it, making the or systems so that they fit the people who use them. So here the word ergonomics comes from the Greek. Ergo means work and momos means law. So it creates a balance between work and effort what you are keeping. It also takes into account the need for movement throughout the day. It achieved best practice design. Ergonomists use the data and techniques of several disciplines like anthrop- anthropometry, which talks about body sizes, shapes, populations, and variations. And biomechanics talks about muscles, levers, forces, and strength. Means muscle which will increase or decrease because of levers changing or forces or strength. Environmental physics talks about noise, which can happen because of light, heat, cold, radiation, or any etc. And applied psychology, where we require skill, yes, learning, errors, and differences. And social psychology, here where we have groups where they use communication, behaviors, and learning. Importance of ergonomics. So here, ergonomics plays a vital role in improving productivity, though it's fact that ergonomics itself does not produce anything. Why? Because if properly exploited on indispensable tool or function in industry, it's capable of producing significant results. Like importance of ergonomics as scientific discipline is improving the mechanism as indispensable strategy for survival. And it is of great use for production, industrial engineers, and work study experts. Even the environment also affects the human operator, and it would be appropriate to analyze factors that are external to the task, which will have an effect on performance as well as on their job satisfaction. For example, noise and vibration, heat and cold, work rest cycles, and organizational factors, etc. Even we have OSHA, that is Occupational Safety and Health Administration, which identifies the materials or the manuals or the handling for the primary source of compensable work injury. There are with four or out of five injuries related to the lower back. Why? Because the machines they use, the lever muscle they use, they push it, pull it, where there are a lot of pressure on the back while it's moving down. So this is because manual materials handling tasks comprise significant risk factors like pushing and pulling materials or carts, lifting and carrying heavy loads, or frequency of manual handling tasks, lifting, carrying, pushing, or bending, and even reaching, twisting of the body, and exerting force to perform tasks. So these are the different things while handling the material, that is the risk that are involved in which there may be chance of injuries on the lower back of the employee who are working in that. And even workers in manufacturing environment are prone to injury, especially musculoskeletal disorders, or this is known as cumulative trauma disorder. which is prevalent in the manufacturing industry due to the type of day-to-day tasks completed by employees, including repetitive actions, awkward postures, high force, and exposure to vibrant from tools and equipment. So, this is causing cumulative trauma disorder. And here, human injury is one of the greatest risks to any organization. Why? Because it leads to unplanned breakdown. And sometimes what happens, the organization must make it priority to focus on implementing ergonomics process and best practices to reduce the risk of injury to employees. So, cumulative trauma disorders. Cumulative trauma disorders are also known as CTD, which defines the excessive wear and tear on tendons, muscles, and sensitive nerve issue caused by continuous use over an extended period of time. And here, CTD, that is custom cumulative trauma disorder, includes various injuries of the musculoskeletal and nervous system that are caused by repetitive tasks, forceful exertions, vibrations, mechanical compression, or sustained postures. Types of cumulative trauma disorders we come across two categories, that is tendon disorders and nerve disorders. Here, tendon disorders like tendons are like fiber like tissues that connect muscles to bone. Tears in tendons can occur as muscles are used. So the most common type of tendon disorders is tenosynovitis, which is caused because when the protective sheath around the tendon becomes inflamed. It mostly affects joints in the hands, legs, and feet. And joint movement become more difficult and swelling may occur in affected areas. The next one is nerve disorders. Jobs that subject a worker to pressure such as frequent tool use can create nerve damages. And the most common nerve disorders is carpal tunnel syndrome. Here, what happens? The wrist collapses and the compressed nerves running to the hand. If left untreated, the disorder could result in permanent hand loss. That also happens. So, these are the very dangerous health issues that may arise. CTD, these are the disorders which comes under CTD, that is tendon disorders and nerve disorders. Next one is musculoskeletal disorders. And as per the Center for Diseases Control and Prevention, over 70 million doctors visits per year are attributed to the musculoskeletal disorders and the single largest category of workplace injuries and are responsible for almost 30% of all workers' compensation cost. And these disorders include any injury or strain involving the tissue, muscles, tendons, nerves, and spinal disc. The problem with musculoskeletal disorders that they often go unnoticed till the last period or when it becomes too much of serious. And the mostly musculoskeletal disorders include the following: that is pinched nerve, herniated disc, carpal tunnel syndrome, tarsal tunnel syndrome, sprained muscles, muscle tear, arthritis, overexertion. And the cause for musculoskeletal disorders is work related factors, in which we come across the three primary ergonomic risks are high task repetition, forceful exertions, and repetitive or sustained awkward postures. And individual risk related factors: poor work practices, poor overall health habits, poor rest and recovery, poor nutrition, fitness, and hydration, Domains of ergonomics. Here, as per the International Ergonomics Association, there are three broad domains of ergonomics that are physical, cognitive, and organizational. So, when we talk about physical ergonomics, it's almost concerned only with the human anatomical, anthropometric, physiological, and biomechanical characters as they relate to physical activity. And this is the ergonomics domain we are most concerned with in the workplace, and most of the content of on this site is very much focused on workplace ergonomics. And here it means workplace ergonomics means the science of fitting workplace conditions and job demands to the capabilities of the working population is known as workplace ergonomics. This is an approach or solution to deal with a number of problems among the work related or musculoskeletal disorders. At its core, workplace ergonomics is really about building a better workplace. When jobs are designed to match the capabilities of people, it results in better work being produced and better experience for the person doing it. So the benefits of workplace ergonomics are lower cost, higher productivity, better product quality, improved employee engagement, and better safety culture. And ergonomics process, here we have assess risk, plan improvements, measure progress, and scale solutions. And when we talk about cognitive ergonomics, it's concerned with mental process such as perception, memory, reasoning, and motor response. And here, the relevant topics which are related to mental workload, decision making, skilled performance, human computer interaction, human reliability, work stress, and training as they may relate to human system design. The primary focus of cognitive ergonomics is on work activities which have an emphasized cognitive component or in safety critical environments or in complex changeable environments. Next is disciplines for better user experience. Here the products designed to manage the cognitive capabilities and limitations of users are simple, clear, and easy to use, contributing to a superior overall user experience. This is the ultimate goal of the designer of any system. But before we get to the disciplines to building a better user experience, first it's important to understand what influence as in user experiencing is a. So let's see what is good user experience is considered. It's useful, safe, usable, and desirable, findable, accessible, credible, and valuable. Next is organizational ergonomics. It talks about known as macro ergonomics, which is concerned about the optimization of socio-technical systems, including organizational cultures, structures, policies, and processes. And in it, we have unity of command, responsibility, authority, motivation for work. Implementation of ergonomics in manufacturing industry. So there are n number of steps both employees and workers can take to promote ergonomics in the manufacturing industry. Why? Because one of the most important steps is education, and workers who unknowingly lift or handle materials in awkward manners are at risk for developing MSDs or CTD. The golden rule of lifting a heavy object, for instance, is to lift with your legs, not your back. And other ways to promote ergonomics include ongoing training or adjusting shift hours to work for or given breaks, usually heavy lift equipments, and setting up anti-fag mats. And you can look at here the neutral position, the standing position and the elbow position at what sitting position, seat height, elbow, sitting height. So basic ergonomic principles here, they maintain the neutral positions. They use the power position, knees bent and legs slightly staggered with one foot in front of the other. Stay with your reach zone and promote the most effective work processes. Maintain and use the correct tools and equipment. Provide and take adequate rest breaks. Control and reduce the duration, frequency, and severity of exposures. Tools and equipment. Tools are selected to limit or minimize exposure to excessive vibration. Tools are powered where necessary and feasible. Tools are evenly balanced, and the tool handle prevents slipping during use. Use of automation or mechanical lifting, and use of personal protective lifting or equipment. Next is lifting and moving ergonomics. Here, lifting and transporting materials is essential in manufacturing environments. Manufacturers must ensure that workers are performing this task as safely as possible. That is the main thing the organization has to look after about their employees or the workers who are working, that they are working under safety and secured environment. Here are some ergonomic best practices which will help the organization. Just look at it. This is how they have to lift the many weights if they are going to lift. Lifting aids, lift, turn and place, turn materials to reduce awkward postures. Lift assist devices. Nowadays we can find transportation devices. Lift within the lifting safety zone, that is below or elbow to knuckle height. Use of proper lifting techniques, bend hips and knees, and reduce the frequency of lifting and especially heavy load. So now you can even look at the pushing and pulling ergonomics. It's a frequent we look after in the manufacturing shop floor. There are many ways to improve ergonomics manually, handling, pushing and pulling. Then look at the picture, how they are depicting it, how actually it takes place whenever any weights have to be moved from one place to the other in the organization. Good body mechanics means the position, how they are taking, how is the chest position, what are their muscles, what is their back position. That all are very plays a very crucial role while any movements or whenever you are lifting any machines or weights. Next is environmental ergonomics. In the manufacturing environment, there are many areas that can be improved by incorporating ergonomic principles, that are ergonomically designed workstations, good lighting conditions, and under lighting we have direct lighting, indirect lighting, indirect lighting, and shielded lighting. So the amount and quality of lighting reproduced or required for particular workstations or task will determine how they are lifting, how light the fixture is there going to take place. Next is noise controlled workplace. They're eliminating the source of noise wherever possible, or by reducing or replacing, modifying the source to produce less noise, or isolating the source by containing the noise to an enclosure, soundproofing the buildings to suppress the sounds from bouncing from surfaces. The benefits are it reduces cost, improves productivity, improves quality, improves employee engagement, and creates a better safety culture. Next is BPR and BPO, that is business process reengineering and business process outsourcing. So BPR, that is business process reengineering, is also referred as business process change management or business process redesign. It represents the analysis and design of the workflow and methods within an enterprise with external entities as well. Whereas business process outsourcing is a business practice in which one organization hires another company to perform tasks that the hiring organization requires for its own business to successfully operate. And there is a link between business process reengineering and business process outsourcing. Simplification or removing unnecessary steps in process, standardization across business offices and geographies, shared services or realization of economies of scale from a shared service center within the organization, outsourcing or identifying process that could be better implemented by an external outsourcing specialist for efficiency. And here business process reengineering meaning and aims. You can just look at your business process reengineering cycle it is, and you can just look at your business process reengineering cycle. It will identify process, whatever the process it has identified, it will review, update, analyze, and design to be, then test and implement to be. So it's a continuous circle or vicious cycle which takes place throughout the process of business process engineering. Here, business process reengineering is the act of recreating a core business process with the goal of improving product output, quality, or reducing cost. It enhances business by increasing effectiveness and efficiency of the process that are being implemented in the business. And in the early 1990s, Michael Hammer and James Camphy published a book that is Reengineering the Corporation that stated that in some cases, radical design and reorganization within a company were the only way to reduce cost and improve service quality. To this end, they said information technology was the key element for allowing this to happen. And Hammer and Champy even also said that there are large companies which assumes the goals, their goals, people, and technology are impacting the workflow. They even suggested seven principles that could be used to re-engineer and help streamline workflow. And the seven principles are organize around outcomes. You have to organize the outcome, not the task, and identify all the process in an organization, prioritize them in order of redesign urgency, integrate information processing work into the real work that produces the information, treat geographically dispersed resources as they were centralized, link parallel activities in the workflow instead of just integrating their results, put the decision point where the work is performed and build control into the process, capture information once at source rather than keeping it many sources, keep it in some secret source where only the organization could look after that. And the steps involved in BPR are identify and communicating the need for change, here, whenever we are identifying and communicating the need for change, there will be always individuals who are happy with the things that are already existing. And here, both who are happy, both management as well as the employees. And they always afraid of sunk investment or lack of the job security, or even worse. So in that case, the management will have to play the role of salespeople. conveying the grand vision of the change, that by this change the organization may be leading in the market or in the industry, or the change of the employee's perspective or the worker's perspective may increase the sales of the business, and in turn which may lead to the profitability of the business. If you failed to show that, what happens, however, your business process reengineering effects might be destined to fail long before they even start. So that there is a chance of risk of failure, that not getting buy-in from the company. So we have to put a team of experts together, will work. The team must consist of senior manager, operational manager, reengineering experts. And risk of failure is now again not putting the right team together. If the team, whatever you are establishing or forming, is not the right or the appropriate one, then you are going to face a lot of problems in the scenario of future, where it's highly impossible or it may not be able to properly diagnose the problems of the organization itself. So the next we will try to have the inefficient process and define key performance indicators. So once if you have the team who are ready and about to kick off the initiative, you will need to, or you'll need to define the right KPIs. You don't want adopt a new process and then realize that you didn't keep some expenses in mind. The idea of BPR is to optimize, not the other way around. And while KPIs usually vary depending on what process you are optimizing, the following are maybe very typical. Like manufacturing, we talk about cycle time, means what is the time you are spending from the beginning to the end of process, and changeover time. Here we talk time needed to switch the line from making one product to the next product. And defect rate, here we talk about percentage of products manufactured defective. Inventory turnover, how long it takes for the manufacturing line to turn inventory into products. Planned versus emergency maintenance. When we talk about this, about manufacturing. And when we are talking about information technology, here the first comes mean time to repair. Means there we require some average time needed to repair the system, software or app after an emergency. And support ticket closure rate means number of support tickets that are being raised or closed by the support team divided by the number that are open, which are not yet been supported. Next is application development and the time needed to fully develop a new application from scratch. Cycle time, the time needed to get the network backup after security breach. And here, if an optimal manager or operational manager comes in handy, they make it marginally easier to define and analyze the process. Under that, we have risk of failure, re-engineer the process and compare KPIs. Challenges and advantages of limitation and limitations of BPR. Challenges here, BPR can seriously impact everyone in the company, and sometimes this can appear to be a negative change for some employees might, for example, think you have let them if you go find a better way to function. And advantages, it boosts competitiveness in the operations network through simpler, learner, and more productive process. And re-engineering an organization can achieve radical changes in performance. Even BPR encourages organizations to abandon conventional approaches to problem solving and to think big. It slows cautious process of incremental improvements, which may leave organizations unprepared to compete in today's rapidly changing marketplace. And through reengineering, an organization can be transferred from a rule-driven and job-driven organization, center organization structure to marketing organization, and often results in radically new organizational design that can help companies respond better to competitive pressures. The major accomplishment of the reengineering effect is the change that occurs in the corporate culture. Even reengineering has helped to create more challenging and more rewarding jobs with broader responsibilities for employees. And the limitations they have business, it's not that simple to implement for all the organizations, and it may not be able to invest time and resources to implement a radical clean state approach, and significant process improvement requires the use of information technology, and each functional area is necessary in addition to improvement in the firm's cross functional processes. Some common causes of failures in business process engineering are improper knowledge of engineering, re-engineering too many processes at initial stages, improper monitoring of a re-engineered process, unfavorable organizational environment, non-availability of adequate resources. And when we talk about, there is a case study of BPR in M&M, that's Mahindra and Mahindra Limited. It's a flagship company of the Mahindra Group, one of the top 10 industrial houses in India. When you talk about the history back of 1945, when two brothers, J.C. Mahindra and K.C. Mahindra, they started a business which are purpose utility vehicles. So they have earlier they've in 1990s they have producing MUV, that is multi utility vehicles, and tractors. The case study you can just go through that. Next is BPO, that is business process outsourcing, meaning and its importance. BPO, that is business process outsourcing, is the contracting of nine non-primary business activities and the functions to a third-party provider. It includes payroll, human resources accounting, and customer call center relations. It's divided into two categories, that is back office and front office. The people factor is evaluated in the lines of size of the job market, workforce education level, language barriers, past outsourcing experience, and employee retention. When it comes to environment, which includes country risk, infrastructure, cultural compatibility. But however, India lags behind countries like Canada, Australia, and Ireland. And even we have KPO, that is knowledge process outsourcing. It's nothing but upward shift of BPO in the value chain, where the knowledge is been outsourcing, and the advantages are accelerate different engineering benefits, access to top class capabilities, cash infusion, optimal use of resources, source solution to difficult problems, focus on main business, best use of financial resources, cost reduction, and minimum risk. And the remaining we continue it in the next class.